Good day, everybody. Thank you for joining in. I will start the webinar soon. Maybe just wait for a couple of people who are just entering right now. Just give them just some minutes. Well, well, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining this Alistar webinar. It's great to see that you are all investing your time to see and explore how FuelVision with the retail module can help you with your daily processes in Business Central. Today, my colleague Yuri is going to show you in Business Central how the retail module of FuelVision will work. And before we dive into that, I will talk to you a little bit about Alistar, what we do, how we do it, and how FuelVision is built up together with Business Central. So the focus of today is how can our retail solution improve your operational processes? And I saw some questions already, but this webinar will be recorded indeed. And please, if you have got any questions, leave them at the Q&A, and we'll try to answer them as soon as possible. So let's dive in and explore the possibilities. So Alistar is a full-service Microsoft-focused technology partner with more than 35 years of experience. And we do streamlines business operations and excellent growth with digital solutions. We do have more than 750 colleagues, including 300 Dynamics consultants. And as you see on this map, we're mainly focused in West Europe and Belgium, the Netherlands, and France. And since we have customers from all over the world who do need support as well, we do have offices in Portugal, Spain, Argentina, and Indonesia, mainly because of the time differences. So we are in Western Europe, and Business Central is all over the world. We, as a full-service technology partner, do the service of IT consultancy and strategy. And technology is evolving rapidly these days, and solutions are increasingly interconnected. And that's why we do have specialists in-house for the services. And we focus on different domains, which I will talk to you a little bit more in the next following slides. And from data and BI to AI. And our expertise is industry experts of FuelVision is going to show you the retail module today. So Microsoft has the vision to be the one-stop shop for companies with all of their software. We as Alistar have got the same vision as well, to be the one-stop shop. And therefore we do have all these labels from Microsoft, from AI to Power BI. Today, we are going to focus on our suite business applications, which is Business Central. So that will be our market, this one. Right, so we will focus on this label of business applications from Microsoft, which will dive in deeper. If we dive into this business application, you have got Microsoft Dynamics 365. All of these products you see at the right slide works seamlessly with the application that you already might know. For example, Word or Power BI, as you can see right here. And I see this image like an apartment, which the foundation always starts with identity, security, for the compliance. And next you see the different apps of Microsoft that fully connects with Dynamics 365. And in the penthouse, as I might call it, you can see Microsoft Copilot, which fully integrates within all of these products of Microsoft. And today we are going to focus on Business Central. Well, what is Business Central? Business Central is a cloud-based centralized ERP system that helps to structure the organization. For example, there's financial, sales, project, supply chain, and service. So all of these standard forms the general foundation of your daily business processes. And of course, there are industry-specific needs that's not covered in Business Central, as you can see right here. So, and therefore, we built together with our clients FuelVision for the oil and gas market. FuelVision is a modular extension on top of Business Central. I told you just yet that Business Central is the general ERP system, and for the industry-specific needs, you will need an extension that's FuelVision. And FuelVision has all of the different modules in the application as well. And together with Alistar, we created a new module, and that is the retail module. And today, my colleague will show you, Yuri, how this retail model can work for you at the gas stations, for example. Before we dive in, I would like to show you our customers who are already working with FuelVision and with Alistar for the last years. And if there are any questions, let me check. I don't think so. If there are no questions, then we'll just go ahead. I will start the webinar of my colleague, and just leave the questions at the Q&A, and we will answer them as soon as possible.
Hello, and thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Yuri Leijsens. I'm a business consultant and solution architect for the retail business unit here at Alistar. During this webinar, I will demonstrate how Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central can support retail organizations in doing their day-to-day business. As you know, retail can bring a great deal of complexity when it comes to managing a large range of items that are being purchased and sold, including frequent changes of the products offered by your suppliers, updated purchase prices that you need to handle, including, of course, the updating of the sales prices to reflect your margins. I will demonstrate in this webinar how Dynamics Business Central can handle this kind of complexity, and with additionally on top of that, some of the tools that we developed here at Alistar to support all these tasks. We will be looking from the point of view of a multi-shop context, meaning we will have a centralized management of items, purchases, and sales, and that combined with multiple shop locations where the goods are being sold to the end customers. Like, for example, in the different shops that you have in the petrol stations alongside of the motorway. To guide you through this presentation, I made a small agenda with the topics that will be covered. First of all, I will introduce you to some specific retail functionality in Business Central. Then we will use our item and price import tool. Once that is done, we can use the advanced pricing and discounts calculation functionality. The requisition worksheet will be handled to generate some of your purchases to fill up your inventory. In the multi-shop context that we discussed during the introduction, we want to use a central purchase and procurement center to handle all the purchases for all the different shops centrally. And then in the end, I will also have a brief look at the financial administration capabilities of Business Central and also the reporting. Now let's go to Business Central and have a brief look how Business Central can support retail companies in doing their day-to-day business. When you start up your Business Central client, you will see this kind of a homepage, which we call a role center. That means that depending on your role in the organization, you can have a different startup screen, depending on your roles. So in this case, we're looking at the business manager's role center, who has a direct overview of how many sales or purchases have we got this week, or with direct links to other kind of screens. If you're in another kind of a role, then you will have, for example, a financial role. You will see a totally different starting screen, more focused on doing your financial transactions. Now here on this role center, there's a menu, and we can go to either sales or purchasing, or here are some quick links, and let's go to the item list with all the items that we are going to sell. Now, of course, in real life, you will see 10,000s of articles or items here in this table, With our demo environment, we kept it a bit small with a few examples of articles or items that can be sold in a petrol station. We've got 8 items at this moment. And for example, if you look at the different environments that I've got open on my screen, this is the master company. We have also here in the other tab, we have the shop 1, like we said. This is one of the shops that you've got near the motorway, and also with an item list. And as you can see, this company will have all the same items as in your master company, and identically also in the shop number 2 you will also have the same items. You could filter that out, that only some specific items are only sold in a certain shop, but that we haven't done in this demo. But you can also clearly see here on the right top that with the company badge in which environment you are currently working. What also did we prepare up front for this demo is that, for example, in the sales prices, if we have a sales price list in the master company, you can manage multiple sales price lists, one for each of the shops. But then obviously in the different shops, you can only see the sales prices of your shop. Just imagine that for some reason you would want to handle different prices in the different shops. Let's have a brief look here. The shop number 2 obviously only has the price list of shop number 2. Okay, now let's go back to our item list in the master company and open up one of the item cards. Here, for example, we've got the item card of Coca-Cola. It's a 25 centiliters can. You see that there are a lot of different tabs on the item card, so that the information is structurally a bit grouped and better overview for the users. And based on your units of measure, here you can see, for example, that these Coca-Colas can be sold in a can, but they can also be packaged in a box of 24. But that's mostly when you purchase those kind of items, that you get them in a box of 24 cans. You see that we've got 480 of these cans in our inventory, and the prices and sales, you could specify here directly a sales price, but as you will see later in this demo, you will use the sales price list for that. On the replenishment tab, you can specify different kind of parameters, where or how you want to purchase these items. Obviously, Coca-Cola, you will buy it from the Coca-Cola company in boxes of 24. This is your vendor where you will purchase that item, and here also you can specify the vendor item number when you have to post a purchase order with Coca-Cola, which item number reflects this can of Coca-Cola. Besides this item number, you can also link barcodes and other kind of references to the item card so that you can easily scan them when you're selling those goods. Now, as mentioned, we only had a few items in the environment. That's not going to be enough for handling all the items that are being sold in our shops. Now, there are several options how we can extend the list of items available in our environment. Let's start very simple. We can go in the actions button here and use a copy item, because we are going to also sell Coca-Cola Zero cans in the shop. And if let's say we start off from the Coca-Cola 25 centiliters can, we can create a new item, and give it another name, Coca-Cola Zero. But hey, I can imagine you're not going to create item per item, as you can have a lot of items. So therefore, we created an item worksheet. If you search here in the right top menu, we can search for different kind of screens, like the item worksheet. If you find it here. But if you use that often to create multiple items in a very fast way, using some templates, you can also, of course, bookmark this page, so you can easily find it back on your role center, so that you can use it day to day. Now we can use an item template that in this case we just kept it simple with a trade good, but you could create multiple kind of templates, like for drinks or for food or for car equipment or whatever you want to sell in the shops. And then you could also say, let's use the Coca-Cola 25 centiliter can as the basis for the other items that we want to create. And now, instead of opening item card by item card, we want to say, okay, I also have a Fanta and a Sprite can of 25 centiliters that I want to sell in the shops. Here also you can use multiple fields to quickly fill up all the information, like the vendor item number if you want to sell it, or a barcode, or whatever information you want to add. And then of course also here in the unit class you could say, yeah, they are also sold in or purchased in trays of 24, so that easily creates those items for you. You can from here open directly the item card, and you see that all the information which we had on the Coca-Cola 25 centiliter card are easily copied into the items for Fanta and Sprite, and all is there what we needed. In the meantime, if we now switch to our shops and I press F5 to refresh the screen, you see that in the background the system has done its job and has already synchronized the newly created items from the master company to the different shops. Now, as you could see, that item worksheet tool was a very useful tool to quickly create several items based on a template or based on another item in your list of items already. But now let's go a step further and let's return to our master company and go to the role center. And here on top you will see that there are two buttons which are related to the import tool that we have developed for importing large Excel files with items and new updated purchase prices from your vendors. So here we could look in the import templates, where there are several templates that you can define. And for this demo purposes, we created a template for our supplier Metro in Germany, and we also have a template for the Coca-Cola company. Now you could either import it from here or directly from the imported documents you could import a new file. Now, but before we want to import the new file, let's briefly have a look at the Excel file that we are going to upload into the system. So here, let's imagine that you received an Excel file from Metro with these columns. Now, every supplier that will send you a list of his articles will, of course, have a different kind of Excel file. This is, let's say, a fairly simple one, but of course, you know, those Excel files can go rather complex with a lot of columns and a lot of rows, and all of that can be handled with the import template configuration. But here you will have a reference column with the unique reference code from your supplier if you want to purchase these items with Metro, and a description of the article, the unit, how the goods are sold. It will be sold in pieces, but you need to purchase them in different types of boxes. And they have a certain price per purchase quantity, so the price per box, and they have a suggested sales price that they want you to sell the items for. Of course, you can still do whatever you want with that for the sales price calculation. Now let's drag and drop the file from my computer and drop it here in the import tool. And now the import tool will automatically detect that the Excel file that we uploaded is coming from Metro. There are several parameters how the system can detect that. And now you see that it has imported the data in a temporary table, because you can still preview what you received here. Nothing has been done yet in the database itself. Again, here in the related link, you see template. You see that it has recognized the Metro template file. And here also you have several configuration tabs where, for example, here in the field mappings, we have configured the different column names that you will receive in the Excel file from Metro, and the different column numbers and some example values that you should normally receive. And in these screens, you will configure how the data needs to be processed into which fields into the item card. Now, if you preview this data, you see that there is already an indication of certain information, and the system has already validated that 2 of the records would be okay, and 2 of them are highlighted with a red square here. It's meaning there are some errors. Now, what we can do with those errors, if this is a small list of only a few items, it's clear which errors you need to solve. If you would import a large list of maybe hundreds of items where a few errors occurred, here you can easily filter to show only the errors. And if you click on the 3 dots here, the system will tell you what exactly is the problem, and it seems to be complaining about the unit of measure box 16, which is coming in from the vendor's Excel file. Now, there are several kinds of solutions for this one, and here we could say that, okay, let's map that value of a box 16 to, let's say, another one that we know, and I don't know which one I could take here. There's in Dutch version, this one, and then I can validate again. And now the system has recognized that all the information is correct and we don't need to take any further actions. Okay, but of course the data is not applied yet into the database. We could ask first, give me a preview of what would happen if I save these changes into Business Central. So yes, I want to preview, and now I get an extra information from the system, and that is one of the items was recognized based on the unique vendor's reference number. It's the Mars Eyes, so we will update the existing item number 1, and the system will create 3 additional items for the Snickers, the Bounty, and the Ola Magnum White articles. If you now click Apply, then we will really do the updating into the system, and we will apply all the information. Now, before we apply the information, the system gives a pop-up. That's also something that can be configured if you want to see this pop-up screen or not. It's just taking the default settings from the template of Metro. And we have a price list, which we haven't shown yet in the demo, but there is a price list with all the items from Metro. And we want to create items, we want to update the existing price list, and we want to, for now, skip the updating of the sales prices. If you click here also, you could, before we go further, we could say that when do the new prices start? Now, let's say the new price will be valid from the 1st of April, for example. The 1st of April, the new price will be valid, and then click OK. Then the system will now do the necessary updating, and it opens also the price worksheet, because we asked the system to do that with all the prices for the purchase. And you'll see that, okay, for those newly created items, you see they've got already their final item number in our system, and we could say, okay, we are ready with these new prices, and we will implement the price change. Now, if we go back and we close the screen, you also see that the imported file is stored here. You have some history of the file imports that you did. And now if we search for the purchase price list, and now when we look at this default purchase price list, you will see here that the new items which we imported from the Excel file have been added with a new starting date of the 1st of April. And one of the items already existed in our database. It was the Mars Eyes item number 1, which already had a valid price, but now that existing price is going to end on the 31st of March, while the new price, as we said, starts from the 1st of April. So that concludes the importing of our purchase prices. Next step is that we need to calculate some sales prices for the newly imported items with the new updated purchase prices. So let's close this purchase price list and let's go back to the starting screen. We take here the price worksheet again, which we saw earlier. Open the price worksheet, and now we're going to use a calculation function that we have implemented here to say, okay, let's let the system calculate new sales prices. And we're going to calculate it for the default prices. And now in the price worksheet for the price type of sale, you see that the system now suggests new sales prices for the different items. And we had in our formulas, we had defined that, okay, we have a general price for all the customers. And then we could have a specific price for each of the different shops, where customer 2 is your first shop in Ghent, and the other one is the second shop. So the only thing we now need to do is select all these lines and implement the calculated price sheets. The system gives you then a confirmation that all the changes have been implemented, and that concludes the calculation of the sales price. In the background, the master data sync will also push the different changes of the sales prices to the different shops. So if we now switch to one of the shops and we go here to the sales price list, sales price lists, and we open the sales price list, you see that in the meantime, if you scroll down, the new prices for the newly imported items have been synced already, and you are now ready to go and sell. Another useful feature that we added to Business Central is now that we uploaded new articles with new prices, we also want to update the prices that are labeled in our shop so that the customers can see what the new prices are starting from the 1st of April. So we can go now to another screen here in our Business Central environment. We are in shop 1 because we received updated prices in our shop. And we can go to the shop labels screen. And we can ask the system now to generate new shop labels for our shop number 1 here. And we're going to start from the 1st of April because those are the new prices or the new shop labels that we want to generate. The system will now generate some new records, or if there were some existing items, it will update the existing items with the new updated prices. And then we can use the button here to print shop labels with, of course, again, the publication date of the 1st of April. And we can preview it here on the screen. And now, as you can see, you can print all the shop labels. In this case, for example, on a pre-printed paper with labels. But of course, this data can also be sent to digital labels, which are automatically going to update the prices displayed in your shop. And as you can see, if you have also some barcode labels linked to your different items, the barcode labels are immediately printed as well. Now we have seen different kind of items. We imported them with purchase prices. We generated sales prices and shop labels. Now there's one more thing that we could show here about the items. Now let's switch back to our master company and to the item list. And here we've got a special item, which is a sandwich with cheese that you sell in the shop. But of course, a sandwich of cheese can contain multiple different items so that you can make that a sandwich in the shop. So if you see here in how we can set that up in Business Central is that when we sell a sandwich of cheese, we need one empty sandwich, we need different slices of cheese and some tomatoes. So also that can be defined in Business Central so that you can construct another item based on a combination of multiple other items. Okay, so let's briefly switch back to the PowerPoint presentation. And we already discussed the first three topics, where we introduced you to the Business Central for Retail functionality. We showed you everything about items and also how items and prices can be imported. And we discussed the pricing calculation. So now let's move on to the next two topics. And that is when the business is running on a day-to-day basis. The shops will be selling their goods to the customers in the shops. And at a certain moment, the stock might start to run low. So before you are going to run totally out of stock, it will be time to generate some purchases from within the different shops. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, we will work with the centralized purchase and procurement center, which will be placing the different orders with the vendors. To illustrate this a little bit better, how this flow will be going, I made a visual diagram here with all the steps that we will be going through in the next couple of minutes. So you can see here, we have the different shops. They will generate a purchase proposition to tell to the master company which items they are running low on and which items they want to purchase. The master company will then gather all the different purchase requests from the different shops, and they will use the requisition worksheet to make purchase orders with the different vendors of the items. This can either be done by sending a purchase order by email or by sending them a structured EDI or electronic message. Then the different vendors, they will be delivering the goods directly to the different shops. And then we go to the next step here. The shop will confirm that the goods are received, and they will confirm to the master company which goods they received, so that the master company is also aware of that. The vendors will be sending their purchase invoice directly to the master company, who placed the orders, obviously. But then the master company or procurement center will generate sales invoices through the different shops for the items that each shop has. So let's go to shop number one and generate some purchases from this shop. Let's open the purchase proposition screen. And on the screen, you can see that we can work with some templates and some calculation codes. First of all, let's have a look at the templates. And here we defined different templates for suppliers that are going to be delivering goods on a Monday. And we have suppliers that usually deliver goods on Tuesday. You can see that when you click on the show details. And for Tuesday, it's vendor number one that is usually delivering goods, and that is vendor Bitfood. On a Monday, we have different vendors that will be delivering. The calculation code, we have configured one default calculation formula. What is that going to do? This default calculation formula will propose you the purchases based, first of all, on your minimum quantity that you want to maintain for each item in your shop. That's something that each shop can individually configure. But it can also calculate purchases based on similar months of last year. For example, in the summer, when it's quite hot, you want to be purchasing again some ice cream, while in the winter, maybe ice cream is less popular. So this is where you can configure to which periods you want to look for suggesting new purchases. So if we run here on this screen, we can click on the calculate button, and the function will now calculate which items you want to purchase. And in this case, it's the beefy sausages that we want to purchase, because we want to have 140 items of that in stock. We can do the same from the second shop. Also open the purchase proposition screen here, and let's use the template code for Monday. And now let's calculate here as well. And then this gives you the same, similar kind of proposition, but now from a different item. So the only thing we now need to do is transfer these purchase proposition to the requisition worksheet in Business Central, and do the same here also in the first shop. And okay. Now you see that in the requisition worksheet for the shop, we have 7 boxes of beefy original sausages, because when we purchase, we will be purchasing in boxes, not in individual sausage packages. But as you can see, we also have the the functionality where the vendor will be invoicing you on pieces instead of on boxes. So that's something you can define on each of the items. How will you purchase them, and how will each item be invoiced later on? Just click on the carry out action message. That means that we are going to generate some purchase orders. The system now in the shop says there's nothing to create. That is because the purchase and procurement functionality is now running in the background. It means that in the purchase, in the shop itself, there will not be a purchase order, but the centralized procurement center will make a purchase order. And we do the same here on the second shop. And now both shops have told to the procurement center which kind of items they need and which purchases they require. Now we go to the master company. And in the master company, when we go to the purchase orders, you can see here that 2 new purchase orders have been generated, one for Bitfood and one for vendor Metro, one coming from shop number 1 and one coming from shop number 2. We could have a quick look at the order for Bitfood. And with Bitfood, we have configured that you can send an electronic message to Bitfood in an XML format. That Bitfood will receive orders electronically through an XML file. And we can say, okay, that this purchase order has been released. And when you release it, you see also that the message automatically is generated. So that can all go in one step. For Metro, we didn't have the XML configured, so you could send the order by email with the PDF attached. When you release those both purchase orders in the master company, in the background, it will also create a purchase order in the different shops. Because first of all, the shops just sent the request to purchase new goods, and then the procurement center will do the final ordering with the suppliers. And then here also you see that both shops now have a purchase order, so that they are also aware that the order has been placed and that they can follow up when the goods are received. How do we receive the goods? Well, at the moment when the goods arrive, you can go to the purchase order, and here you can see that, for example, there are 7 boxes required, and they are not received yet. You will just, at a certain moment, all of them were received, and you can say in the shop number 1, we confirm that all 7 boxes are received. And in the shop number 2, also here you could do the same. Goods arrive from vendor Metro, but here you could say that instead of they only delivered 2. They only delivered 2 boxes. Right here you have to 2. We post. Now we confirm that 2 boxes were received and 1 is still to be received. By doing this, we let the shops confirm which goods are received and which not. In shop number 1, we could say that all the items are received, and then there is another function here where we can say confirm that the entire order has been completely received. See now also in the PPC status that the status is confirmed and all the items are received. Here in the master company, you can follow up the same, and then you can see in the purchase order that here also the first purchase order from Bitfood, it is confirmed, and here also the quantities received are updated. While for the second order, this is still not. confirmed. It's still in the PPC status. You see that it's still blank. It's still not completely confirmed. And here also you see that shop number 2 told to the master company that they still need one more box to. Now we can do the invoicing. Now the first order here for Bitfood was completely received, and a few days later you receive the invoice from Bitfood. Then you can say, okay, let's fill in the invoice number from Bitfood, and you could post this purchase order and also post the invoice. So this is the master company which will pay the purchase invoice towards Bitfood. Voila. Okay. And now, of course, you could also create a sales invoice towards the shops. You can generate that, of course, to different kind of tools that we have to generate invoices. But now let's keep it simple in this demonstration. We can make a new invoice for the shop number 1, and also in the functions get all the lines that were delivered to that shop, and then you can post the sales invoice from the master company towards the to shop number 1. In the background, then the intercompany functionality of Business Central will execute so that the purchase invoice also will be created in shop number 1, and you don't need to manually create a purchase invoice in shop number 1 to pay the purchases to the master company. That concludes the purchase and procurement center scenario, starting from purchases up until the invoicing of the orders that were received. To conclude this webinar, we will also briefly touch the different financial and reporting capabilities of Business Central. So first of all, Business Central is also a complete financial management system where you can do all your financial and accounting transactions, follow up fixed assets, your chart of accounts, also do the different kinds of VAT statements and other reporting towards the government. Each financial system, of course, also comes with several kinds of standard financial reports, like your balance sheet or other cash flow follow-up lists. There is, of course, extensive Excel reporting possibilities. You could also make a trial balance in Excel or do some analysis of your fixed assets in Excel. And as Business Central is part of the Microsoft technology stack, there's of course also an integration with Power BI to do the reporting in Power BI to follow up on your company. Now, it's not only in Excel or in Power BI that you can do the reporting. Also inside of Business Central, there are several kinds of reporting capabilities. One of them is on each of the lists, there is also the possibility to use a sort of an analysis mode, which most of you will recognize as being Excel pivot tables, but then inside the Business Central application. So you don't need to export the data first to Excel to do then analysis in Excel pivot tables. You can do that kind of things directly from within the application. Now here we could start to do some select which columns and sums that you want to make manually with the tools that are offered here. But yeah, recently it's also introduced that you can use Copilot to generate your own analysis view by giving in some prompts with artificial intelligence. And let's, for example, say here on our item list, I want to group all the items by vendor. Now, AI will help you as a user to make an analysis based on with all the vendors, and then now you have the items underneath. But those vendor numbers, they don't mean a lot. Let's say also please add the vendor name. And again, Copilot will help here in this case. And now you also have the vendor name in here. And of course here you can also show me the current inventory of each of the items. Okay, that's the last part that I want to show you in this webinar. I hope you learned a lot of it, and it inspires you to see how Business Central can be used to run your retail business. And also in this scenario, we showed how multiple shops can be managed from within the same environment and combined with a master company where all the data is centralized and also the purchases are centralized. And I hand over now the words to my colleagues so that they can round up this webinar. And I hope to see you later and give you more information if needed.